What's going on, people? Welcome to this week's episode of the Indy and Doctor podcast. It's me by myself, but I'm joined by a guest that I've referenced many times in this podcast. He's my brother. His name is Bal Singh. Bal, how you doing?
What's happening, people? How you doing?
How does it feel to be on a podcast for the first time?
It's weird
It is
talking
your first
to you.
time, isn't it?
Well, yeah, for me, yeah. But it's just weird talking to you and it being recorded for some sort of thing.
For some sort of thing. Yeah. Sure. It's not a
Well,
thing. It's content,
yeah.
right?
It's content, right? But we're siblings. So it's like, someone's recording our conversations because, siblings just talk.
Yeah.
And things get said. And it's like, this is now recording things.
So what? You think...
I hate being wrong, right?
So you think I'm going to go and run to mum and dad and go and say, Mum, Dad, look what Becky said?
Listen, what people don't realise about you, Indy, is you and my wife, Suki, love if I'm ever wrong. To the point you will stop a conversation, get a phone out, text her, Bal was wrong.
Yeah.
It's now being recorded. So it's like the ultimate level of sharing and resharing and meme-worthy content.
Yeah. I can cut this off at some point, yeah.
Right.
Make you a snippet.
This is like, you get the risk reward.
Yeah.
A lot of risk here. I'm not seeing
a lot of risk here for you, yeah.
Exactly.
There's a lot of risk for me as well, because I could get cancelled one day, you never know.
For what?
I don't know, for saying something wrong. I might have said something wrong in the past few episodes. I don't know. We'll find out.
Well, you see, the cancelling thing's interesting because I don't believe in the phrase cancel culture. I believe in the phrase consequence culture.
Okay.
It's a consequence of what you said, not a cancel.
But I didn't say anything bad, have I? I mean, if I have... You've listened to all the episodes, so you tell me if I have.
Well, I quite like the way you seem to listen to all of them.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
I was like, yes, you're my brother.
You're a good brother. You're going to listen to all the episodes, right?
You're going to say, of course I have, Indy. Let me tell you. Yes. Well, no, you shouldn't get into any trouble, really. But yeah, it's consequence culture, right? That's what it really is. If you go back into old stuff and bring that out, I mean, there's not a statute of limitations on what you said in the past. You may change who you are, or you may have evolved your views. Cool. Not a problem at all. But some things are so overtly nasty and just like, what the actual...
There is that for sure. But then I think there's a lot of issues where people, like you said X, like last year, that means you must stand by it. But then if you get new information, you change your opinion, now all of a sudden you're a flip-flop. That doesn't... I don't like that kind of nature that people have about themselves.
Well, who's gauging it? Like, does their opinion matter?
So, say if it comes to football, right? Let's say last year, people said Leeds are going to be shit. They're going to go down. They're not going to stay up. Let's
go more directly, right? Arsenal. I'm an Arsenal fan. For my sins, I'm an Arsenal fan. I was cool with Arteta being the manager. You know what? I mean, Emery's crap. Arteta, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
It's looking freaking tragic right now.
Yeah.
And,
But that's because of new information, right?
Right. Okay, but then people might say you flip-flops. I go, no, I was cool with him, like it's a project and carry on. But it shouldn't be this bad, this dire-looking and this depressing when it's part of a process. Because
but there's that constant need that people have of saying you always have to stand by the same opinion you've had like a while ago.
Who says that?
I think it's a bit unfair. I just think it's just natural. Like, even when you listen to radio presenters and they talk, people are like, well, you said this year ago, and they're like, well, what? I can't change an opinion. It's not entirely fair.
That depends on the honesty of the presenter itself. If it's talk sport radio, then these guys are just trying to get opinion to stimulate calls and stimulate controversy. That's it. If it's someone like JOB or someone on LBC,
James O'Brien,
James OB, I call him. He could say things and he goes, well, I'm happy to prove him wrong. He'll even start conversations off like, I'm not fully convinced about this. Let's talk, and whatever have you. Then other times, like Nick Ferrari, be his right wing presenter, comes up before him. He'll be a lot more in terms of very right-wing in his opinions, but then he'll still gun Boris Johnson on occasion as well. And you're thinking, well, hang about, what are you? You've got to realise people aren't 100% into one camp at any one time.
Yeah.
It can vary across the stream of things. Like Chris Rock said it years ago, if you decide upon a subject before you hear it, you're an idiot. So some things I'm conservative, some things I'm liberal. Crime, I'm conservative. Prostitution, I'm liberal.
I remember that, yeah. That's from 2005, man, and that still stands well today.
Jesus Christ, you knew what year it was from as well.
Because I had it on my iPhone. Sorry, no, I had it on my iPod. When you have it on your iPod, it says like the file name, and it says Chris Rock, Never Scared, 2005. And I was like, there you go.
But that may have been the time it was updated, not the time it actually came out.
You know what? It might have been the exact year that it was updated or uploaded, and I just ripped it off LimeWire. So you never know.
I mean, this is the sort of person I am. I'm now straining to not jump on the computer and check what year it actually came out.
I'll check. Hang on. Never.
You'll check. Okay, so you are now the Jamie of this podcast. So anyone who follows Rogan knows he's now the Jamie. Yeah.
Release date. Call me Fingers, like Dave Chappelle called him. Never scared. 2004. 2004.
Woo! I was right. Sorry. Yeah. Again.
17th of April 2004. There you go.
This literally is how I am when it comes to you and I. I just want to be right all the time.
Pretty much.
I'll go to any sort of level, indeed, and get happy about it. But as happy as I am right now, you and Suki get way more hype and happier when the inverse happens.
Always.
So, yeah. But I will say my numbers are not 99%. And you text to say 1% occurred.
It's 1%. Yeah, it's a 1% chance that it happens.
It's a 1% chance it happens.
The issue that I have for people that don't know is that Bal gives me topics to talk about this week because he's got his ear to the ground with all the news channels. I physically can't read as quickly as he can. He's so fast. So I'm like, tell me what's good to talk about this week. I think this. And you're like, have you heard this? And I'm like, I haven't even heard that story. So all the adverse and like abstract stories that people have come across in this podcast in the last couple of weeks, it's because of you. Yeah. So thank you for that. But it's massively helpful to me to form an opinion on things as well that are a bit nuanced, that aren't mainstream.
The other trouble is obviously it's time delay of podcast. News obviously is so damn fluid.
There is that as well, but that works in your favour because people don't hear all the news stories. So if you pick an abstract news story, it's still like, did you hear about this? Like, no. Like, what happened a week and a bit ago? You're like, oh, okay, that's nice.
Does it not worry you that it meant to be important, therefore it didn't take any headline space in people's minds because it wasn't deemed to be a big issue in the first place?
It might be, but then if you're going to the mainstream just to hear all the negativity all the time on the same thing again and again,
COVID, Brexit, COVID, Brexit.
Which is like, well, you can talk about it a little bit because if something evolves and it's important, then cool. But I don't want to constantly talk about like every week vaccine, anti-vax. Like it gets dry, it gets long, and you're just thinking, I'll cover it for 1 minute and then that's it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Unless everyone's just beating you around the head with it.
Unless you're a comedian. And you can sort of develop and grow off, trend and say outlandish shit as a joke. And
but they can say that and get away with it.
What after their cancel culture, Indy?
Well, some of them, their opinion on cancel culture is those people that try and cancel you.
It's all cumulative.
Okay, so whenever a comedian that I've heard, like Russell Peters, etc., talks about cancel culture, they say, well, they weren't going to come to my show anyway, so I don't care.
Yeah, fuck them. Okay.
They basically say, I've got such a hardcore fan base that I built up over, 30 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they're going to come to my shows. The people that are trying to cancel me don't understand my humour, don't understand the references that I'm trying to give. So therefore, it's not going to work.
How is swearing on this? Because I tend to swear an awful lot.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, it's fine.
I'm conscious about that. Okay, fine.
I don't care.
Russell Peters, for example, right? He's quite interesting because I also talk to you about music as well, but file sharing being a big thing. Russell Peters got big in my world because of somebody going to get hurt real bad.
Yeah, with that stand-up comedy special of him in that white t-shirt, that white shirt and the blue jeans.
Yeah. And that was it. But then it got shared with so many guys. It got shared online. It got shared like with file sharing, like LimeWire. Everyone's downloading it and playing it in university. Downloading and playing it in university. And he kind of like the downside is your special's being copied by everyone. The upswing is, mate, everyone knows my material now, so it's brilliant. And it's a great thing. And he said it in his next special, don't worry, he's like, talk about a sex line, somebody going to get hurt real bad. Everyone's laughing. He goes, you downloading bastards. I'm like, identify it, call it out, and be cool with it, right?
We all did it. I have no shame in admitting it. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, but again, it's different. I mean, look, so I'm about 9 years older than you, right?
Yeah, well, you tell me about it, are you?
Well, I am, depending on what time of the year it is.
Exactly. There you go. That's what I was going to try and catch you out.
Yeah. Right.
For 2 months in the year, it's 10 years.
Yeah, thanks. So how music worked when I was growing up and how music works when your generation then, it is a generational gap at times. It's very, very different. Even now, we're old people compared to the young kids these days. But
we are,
I was trying to explain to people, like, music's really different. For example, back in the day, radio was everything, right? Everything was radio. The song would come out on the radio for like a month or two. And then this album would come out. And then 2 weeks later, the single would come out. So you have to wait. You're so long started.
Wouldn't the single come out first?
No. I always got caught with this because I was like having the first being first. I always like having the music first to play.
Oh, I see.
I got it.
Yeah.
So Q-Tip had example was Breathe and Stop. right? Came out, or Vibrant Thing, I think, came out first and Beam and Stop. And I think they both, they front loaded it. So you had Vibrant Thing, everyone thought it was an amazing track. Clubs are playing it, radio's playing it, it's everywhere. Beam and Stop comes out just on the cusp, and the album's out next week. This is a hot joint too. The album must be awesome, right? So the album comes out, boom, I'm buying the album. Yeah,
wow.
It was. I mean, there was one other brilliant track on it, which was that Jay Dilla one, "Let's Ride." Right, but then that was a common theme with music in those days. Was you were so starved of getting it because you had no other way of getting. This is before even LimeWire. You have to buy singles, or you buy the album to get it before the singles come out. Hope that the album's good enough. There are more singles on it, and it's very, very formulatic. It was like single for radio, club tune, posse cut, throwback cut. Obviously, it's all hip hop we're talking about. So and then filler.
Well, we may as well talk about the change of it now. So the hype with Kanye West and his new album Donda. What's your thoughts on it?
I don't get it. I mean,
I've seen the lineup and I've seen all the people that he's got featuring on it, and I'm like, okay,
you've seen
that seems okay.
You've seen a lineup, not the
I've seen a lineup. I've seen a lineup of all the artists on there, and I'm like, all right.
Has he confirmed it?
I don't know. It could be speculation again.
Fine. How many guys were on the song All of the Lights?
Yeah, exactly. That's my opposite thing. So for those who don't understand, All of the Lights, if you watch the video, if you haven't got epilepsy, if you watch the video, at the end he gives like a reference of every person that's in it, and it keeps flashing different names. So you've got John Legend, Beyonce, Kid Cudi, all these people that just keep flashing up on the screen. And I'm like, who are these guys? But they were all the people who were literally in the background going, whoa, 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 and that's it, right? And that keeps flashing up on screen, and I'm like, I didn't hear that person in the song, but technically they all counted as featured on the album because they made the cut. So what's to say it's not going to be like that with Donda? Who knows?
Right. Even Jay-Z had it with Girls, Girls, Girls. He had Biz Markie, Q-Tip singing, I love girls, girls.
Yeah,
girls,
he did,
and he had those guys just like layering the chorus.
Yeah.
You're thinking, but these are like, Biz Marquie's Biz Markie, right? Rest in peace. But the beatboxing, everything else, that was cool. But you're like, where was he in the song?
Yeah.
So that's how the music was. And then my worry about Kanye West stuff now is it's a lot of hype and more hype and more hype. I haven't enjoyed a Kanye album really since Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah, we spoke about this earlier. That was nearly 10 years ago. That was nearly 10 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, some people may be into the Yeezus stuff. I really wasn't.
I didn't, I played that first track and I was like, this is very electric.
Yeah.
And then I heard it and I was like, it's not nice. It's not nice in the ears.
Right, and then you had Pablo, Life of Pablo.
The Life of Pablo, yeah.
Yeah. And then you have another one he had come out after that, the 7-track one he had come out.
This is the bad thing, right? We can't even name the album because we just don't care.
I worry it's the case that, we just old, not with it. And younger kids
I just think
like that was amazing, and we're like,
I just think that I heard it once and I thought this is shit, and I'm not going to go back to it.
Right.
That's it. Like I've got my artists, I've got my songs that I really sit and enjoy. I don't really want to invest myself into new music and force myself to like it because of the caliber of the artist.
But your patience is lacking because back in the day you couldn't just listen to it for free. You'd have to go out and buy it.
Well, there's also a bigger choice.
You'd be obliged, but you'd be obliged. I invested my $12.99, $11.99 in this album. I'm going to effing well listen to it. And you listen to it and you give songs time to grow. Admittedly, all the years I ever bought music, I ever returned an album, I think, once.
Which one?
And it was a Puff Daddy album that had press play on it. I just thought, this is exactly what I don't want. Literally went back to HMV and said, I want to return this. And they go, why? I go, it's shit. And they're like, okay. And
press play?
Really? Yeah, he had a song called Press Play. So he had his albums and stuff. Then he had a comeback, after a time away from the game. Right. And he had a song on it called Press Play with Christina Aguilera. I thought that was a cool track. I got the album, I heard it, and it was exactly what I did not want from an album at all.
Wow, okay.
So I went back, HMV, I go, it's crap. And they go, okay, can I return it? And they go, yeah, do you want to exchange? I went, all right. I think I picked up the John Legend album, the first one, instead. And I was like, this is cool. I can do this. I've never done it before. They were like, yeah, as long as you don't come back again afterwards.
Yeah, keep rinsing it out.
Yeah, because when you take it home, burn it, come back in. No,
go to a separate HMV. Go to a different one.
Yeah, but you get the receipt, haven't you? And with all the markings on
the receipt, it has the markings on it. And
yeah,
stuff. Do you remember that with MP3 players at Dixon's?
What was that?
all the MP3 players at Dixon's. Like I have one. I think I graduated from like a MP3 player that had 128 megabytes, and I ended up with one that had like 2 gigabytes because you just kept going back and paying the difference bit by bit, changing brand.
Oh, did you?
And then yeah.
Oh,
because
good,
it kept on breaking as well because the headphone jack in it was whack.
Mini discs. How's that?
I never had. I missed that gap. I had CD player, and then I had
mini discs, and the good thing with mini discs was you could edit the song to exactly the little bit you wanted and just get rid of everything else. So I had, and mini discs is like basically a digital tape. That's what it really was. And I get all songs, and I get the best verses from all these songs, and just chop the rest of the song off. Like forget it. Next song, chop verse, just all great verses from different songs.
Yeah.
So I had a wicked mini disc, but then it's a mini disc. What other format played that? Nothing. So you plug in by an aux cable, and that was it. And it just sort of died off. But CD players were huge. I mean, like a CD. Sorry, just excuse the size thing, but this is my water bottle, right? That's the size of a CD, if not that sort of size. This player had to be at least this big
to hold
it, to carry around, just to hold it. And it's a round shape. It's not very easy to hold either, is it?
I felt massively privileged that I had a car that had a 6-changer CD player. I was like, this is wicked. This is wicked. Right?
Did you have a subwoofer as well?
Yeah, thanks to you. Yeah, right. but still, a nice little plug there. So,
but you get a car, right? You get speakers, tweeters, 6x9s, subwoofer.
What's a 6x9? Oh, like the mini speakers.
No. So like 6x9s are literally 6x9s. They go on your parcel shelf and your hatchback because we all got hatchbacks as our first cars. Right?
Obviously, yeah.
So on the parcel shelf, is that the word for it, or the boot shelf, whatever it's called? You had 6x9s.
It's the thing that covers the contents of the boot, basically.
Yeah. 6x9s on there. You had the subwoofer underneath there. You had door speakers and the little twitty things on the inside bit onto the dashboard. Those are tweeters. That's your system.
I see.
So you have a crappy car like a Corsa, and bass line kicking out there, like yes, blood. I've got no
great bass, zero pickup, 1.2 diesel. It was great.
Yeah, man. No speeding tickets.
No, nothing. There was no chance of it. It took me so long to get to 70 miles an hour. It wasn't worth it. Right.
So yeah, that's how music's different, right? So the hype right now, Kanye, don't get it, right? Like if the album's delayed, it's delayed. Big deal. Effing move on.
People are losing their shit, man.
But are they? I think it's not just meme culture, like really become memeing about it.
I think it's just everyone saying like, "Oh, why isn't it out? Why isn't it out? You promised us, etc." And I'm like, well, he can do what he wants. Who cares?
But he dropped an album before, and he kept changing it every other bloody week.
Oh, did he?
What was the album? When Pablo came out, every week he changed the song there. He edited this bit there. I think Wolves was a track on it, and the song Wolves changed like 4 or 5 times. The mixing changed, this bit changed, that bit changed. It was never the same song. It was always modified. He kept tweaking. Because it wasn't a press CD. When it's a press CD, it's final. It's shipped. It's gone. He's like constantly just kept fiddling. And you were like, well, you're getting lost in yourself here now, dude. Because when is your content really going to be the final content?
And maybe that's why he's taking so long with Donda then. Because everyone's thinking, well, he's probably thinking it's not finished. It's not finished.
Yeah, but is it ever going to be finished really, though? Because it's such a constantly changeable format of MP3s. You bring it down, you put a new one up. Bring it down, put a new one up, right? Until something else takes up his time, you constantly keep fiddling with stuff, won't you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not bothered about it, man. I'm just... even music now, I'm just like, it's... Music to me is just like, okay, all right, if it's cool, I'll listen to it. Something cool might come out and I'll give it a try. But if I'm not feeling it, I haven't got the patience to sit and persist with it.
Who are your top 5 artists right now? Who are you like, these are my guys. These are my guys I want to hear when they come out.
J. Cole, Drake. So I'm into instrumentals now. There's a guy called FKJ who's really good.
What genre is that?
Just instrumental chill vibes. That's it.
Okay, right, okay.
Lakey Inspired, he's another one who's an instrumental chill vibe.
Right.
And I think that's pretty much it. Those are the ones that I visit the most.
You're not getting hype about those two guys when they put out new music.
I am.
Like, are you actually like?
No, I get really excited. I get really excited when they put stuff out because I'm like, oh, this will be a new vibe, and then I sit and listen to it and I just immerse myself in it and I'm like, this is great.
Okay.
So that's cool, and then I don't really have a fifth artist, which is quite sad, really. There's nobody else.
It's kind of a bit like, really, there's no one else you really want to listen to.
No, I mean, no one current. I might go back and revisit old hip hop or old music.
Old music, right? Because I always thought like every generation looks back at the previous one and goes, "We had it better." You know,
well, I think music peaked R&B wise in the 2000s.
Because what, Radio had it on Smash or?
No, because it was just enjoyable. Like I've listened to This Is the Zero Zeros on like Spotify.
Right.
And you listen to it and you're like, oh, this is a good song.
But you grew up then, right? The real test of that would be if somebody, like you had Ain Senya come on your podcast before.
Yeah.
See, I listen.
If I asked those boys, have you heard it?
Right.
If it made it to their generation.
But they did say they did quite like some of the older stuff as well, though.
Yeah.
They did say they could catch vibes off it.
The retro vibes of older music is really important to people because they're like, oh, I want to feel the music back then and see what it was like. I was like that with you when it came to the music in the 90s. I shouldn't really ever listen to it, to be honest, considering it was hip hop and swearing and stuff. But I still enjoyed it because I was too young.
So what age is it okay to listen to swearing music?
I don't know, but I remember every time I saw it, it would have the label that says parental advisory explicit content.
And?
That's it.
Kid, not really. I went to Gurdwara, right? That had like dismembered bodies on the wall and martyrs
all
everywhere.
The shaheeds and stuff.
Right? Yeah. And that's okay, age 3 or 4, right? And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm cool with it. It just is what it is, right? But to me, there's a lot of lack of uniform standards going on there, isn't there?
Mm.
So if it's swearing in music, it's swearing in music. Obviously, I get scared playing it and a song swears and my dad's listening in the car like, awkward, awkward. Just keep coughing over the N-words and the F-words and the F-bombs and everything else. Yeah, that should be the way of doing it.
Or you just don't play music. Like, I've done that in the car with Dad. I'm like, I just don't play music. It's not worth it. And then I listen to him and his phone calls and then next to me in the car.
Yeah, it's not fun either.
It's not fun either.
See, I'm an old person. I listen to a lot of talk radio. Yeah. And mainly because what I learned growing up is you surround yourself with friends that are like you growing up and like-minded people. Yeah. And you create that echo chamber. Mm-hmm. And you don't really expand outside of that because most guys tend to form similar sort of views and they'll agree with each other and nod and everything else. Then you fail to understand that people are different and why they're different, where their thoughts are coming from, right? So much humility to be humble enough to accept there's a different point of view that may be correct, or also enough to think there's a different point of view and I care to hear it. To me, a lot
hunting
of
for those spaces is difficult. I guess that's why you listen to LBC, but
yeah,
it feels like the similar thing to TalkSport you said earlier, which is a lot of them try and be inflammatory to get a call.
Sure,
not all presenters, some.
Yeah, but you could be intelligent enough to understand. All right, well, you're the typical right-wing person. You're a typical left-wing person. You can see trope. I'm massively stereotyping here, but you can see the trope of what they're doing and recognize what they're doing. Just like, he's being an arsehole. He's being honest, right?
Yeah.
But people call in and invariably, like, it's all well and good saying Brexit's stupid, and it is stupid, but then people call in and say, well, justify it. Give me some of that, data. Like, my gym I go to, right? You know what it's like at my gym. I get into constant arguments all the time over...
Our gym.
No. My gym.
It's our gym, man. We both go there.
When we go there, I'm Bal.
Actually, can I... No.
I know what you're going to say.
Let's stop one thing. You know what I'm going to say. You know what I'm going to say, right?
I know what you're going to say. Bal, I went there first.
Exactly.
Okay, right? And let me counter. The counter to that is, when I go there, I'm Bal, and you are Bal's brother. Thank you, my gym.
That's fine. I have no problem with that. But I still went there first.
And?
Which means you wouldn't have known about it if I didn't go there first.
Right, so how's it your gym then?
I didn't say it was my gym, I said it was our gym.
No, my gym.
No, it's our gym.
All right, well, anyone comment below, right? Let me know, whose gym is it, right? Because, I'm the guy that goes there more often than Indy, and everyone knows me over him. So
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Okay, so it's my gym. Indy goes to my gym. Cool.
No.
Right.
Anyway, as you were saying.
I was at my gym. I constantly get arguments about COVID. Cool, no problem. Mate, I get arguments over flat earth. Flat earthers, man,
I ain't got time for it.
Yeah, but it's the phrase I've learned is, I want all the smoke. Let's go.
Why?
Let's go.
I should have wore that hoodie today, man. I put it in the washer.
I just banned the table and I realised I'm recording. It's going to be an annoying sound.
That's all right. Don't worry. I'll put a sound limiter on it, and basically it'll cap something. So when it has a loud sound like that, it doesn't come out loud. It stops it past a certain point.
Headphone stuff. Cool. Right. So I get all the arguments all the time. It happens 24/7. Fine, cool, bring it. Because if I can get someone to question themselves even for a little bit, that's good. And a lot of people have argued in the past at the gym about COVID, and now coming to me directly saying, look, what about this? And I go, this. What about this? Well, that. Rather than just saying, yeah. I'm like, no. think about it. Ask that question there. And then don't at any point think, just because I'm pro what this is, I agree with the government. I fucking don't. Right? I don't agree with a lot of what they're doing. I think it's bullshit. But then I can see the benefit of doing it, but not the intent being correct.
Yeah, that's how I see it.
But it's really hard because you become categorized with, so you're agreeing with those dickheads. Oh, that's where you're from. You believe, oh, you're a sheep. Do your research, bro. My research, my friend, is not a meme on Instagram and a YouTube video. Right? That's the hardest thing to get across to people. What's your criteria for knowledge? What's your criteria for high enough standard? Well, experts, peer review studies. I read a lot, as you said. So I will try and find out as much as I possibly can about something without going too abstract and too weird into it. So yeah,
the internet can be a wild place, man.
It is, and it's like I don't think it should be censored.
No, I don't think it should be censored either. But I think everything you read on there, you should take it with a pinch of salt, especially if it's from someone on YouTube or something.
But you can question everything every time because what does everyone really know? You know what you're told. That's just a
you know what you're told, but then
what?
Like I said, it's time consuming, isn't it, to sit there and go through every single news outlet, read 3 different outlets, and then say, that's right, that's left, that's centre. What's the real outcome? Yeah. Who's got time for that for one piece of news?
Even doctors, and I know Karen's not here or anything. Even doctors, they're told by the medical journal, medical association, this is the guidance, this is what we should do. That can be revised later. I'm not saying question the doctors. That's not true at all. But I'm saying something.
It is changed, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but like even like not even modern things, even old things. Like they used to give women the contraceptive pill, right?
Yeah.
You take one a day for 3 weeks, take a week off, then carry on 3 weeks, week off. The week after you have your period.
Yeah.
We're thinking scientifically, yeah, cool. Have a period, it makes sense. Have a period, all good. That's probably the correct thing. It then transpires many, many, many years later. The only reason the manufacturers put in that pill-free week is so the Pope wouldn't oppose the pill and call it unnatural and then try and advise countries not to have it.
Why is that?
Because it's stopping the pill, stopping some holy thing of birth and control and whatever else. Back in the day when the pill first came out, the regular everyday pill, if you took it every day, you wouldn't have a period. Simple
but hang on. If you take it... Yeah, so doesn't that work in your favour then, by having that rule? Because doesn't it stop your period if you keep taking it?
Yeah, that's fine. But then what was the big deal about having a period?
What was the big deal about having your period?
Yeah. What would happen if you didn't have your period? What was the bad thing that would happen?
Isn't it something isn't it going to mess up your whole hormones in your body?
We're guessing that. We're taking a hormone every day anyway. So what's the one pill week off going to do? We're
thinking it things, and it also allows you to have your period?
We're assuming these things, right? So we're thinking the research was done and suggested these logical things you're saying. The reality was, no, take a week off to have your period, and therefore the Pope can sign off and go, it's all good. Yes, Catholic countries allow the pill to be given out. It's not an abolition against Christ.
That's weird.
Now,
I didn't know that.
It came up many, 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 many years later, right? And we're thinking, what the heck? Really? Yeah. But then again, I said...
So you could just take it every week then?
Some people do. I'm not advising that. I wouldn't advise anyone to do so, but people did do that.
But doesn't that fuck up their bodies?
Again,
so in which case...
well, hang about. You say in which case, women have implants, don't they? And they release the pill all the time. It doesn't stop for a week at a time, does it? Women have the injection as well. Depo-Provera injections.
Right.
Depo-Provera.
When you say implants, you mean the coil and stuff?
No, the coil goes into down below. An implant is actually going to the lower part of the arm, like a tube thing that slowly releases a dose of hormone regularly. That acts like a pill every day. And it doesn't turn off every other week, every 3 weeks, does it? It just carries on all the time. So, ergo, we do have that thing going on right now. So the question was therefore raised, well, hang about, if that's stopping completely, what harm is the pill doing?
Yeah.
So what harm was it doing that the pill wasn't doing? Oh, well, not really that much harm, to be honest, because... And it comes out. So medically, you do have to question some things as well, where the intent comes from. This is a very rare, unusual example, right? But I'm merely stating that it is a question of, if you question everything all the time, you'll get nowhere in life. You'll just be constantly stuck in a loop.
Yeah. There are some things you just have to take as definite truths. There's gravity. You walk, there is gravity.
You become the Apple symbol, it's loading. You're like, oh, fuck's sake.
What, the Apple wheel, the rainbow
Apple wheel. Yeah, we used to call it the sand timer on Windows when you're old school.
That's gone now, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't use enough Windows. My RAM is good enough, shall we say?
Yeah, happy days.
Happy days, mate. Happy days. So, yeah, totally going off topic there. But where were we on music?
We were on music, but that's how podcasts go, man. You just riff
and we've
on
gone to the core of the contraception with women in science.
There we go, man. That's how it goes.
Nice.
Well, let's talk about some topics for this week then.
Cool.
So, the war on Afghanistan.
Fuck.
So,
just unpack that one slightly, yeah?
Yeah, so I'll give you my initial thoughts. I've tried to keep up with it. Impossible, because I can't. There's too much shit changing every day.
Right.
I'm just thinking, why now? Why does everyone care now? Is it because the Taliban advanced and they took over the capital? What's in it? Why has this only come to light now? A bit like how the conflict with Israel happened, with Israel and Jerusalem. Is that correct?
You mean Israel and Palestine?
Israel and Palestine. Sorry, it's my fault.
Okay.
Why did that all come to light a week ago? Sorry, not a week ago. A couple of months ago. What was the reason behind it? I'm sure that was happening for a while. It wasn't something that just happened overnight. Same thing with the war in Afghanistan.
Okay, so let's try and unpack. I'm no geopolitical expert here at all. Let's get it on record.
Yeah.
But the Israel and Palestine thing, there are flare-ups of violence that happened between two places anyway.
Yeah.
And there was a re-escalation of violence that happened. And that's why you came to the news recently. Also because part of me does feel that 'cause nothing else is going on in the world, it had space to take over the headlines.
Space to breathe, right?
Breathe and breathe everything else, right? The Afghanistan thing was due to Biden basically coming in control and power and he pledging to get Americans out of Afghanistan and stop being there, right? Trump started it. He started the negotiation with the Taliban originally, with the Taliban. And they agreed to conditional terms, which the Taliban had been breaking anyway. But he started the pullouts of troops. And Biden's like, yeah, I'll bring them home. The trouble is, they brought them home, but they bring all the troops out of there, the power vacuum. Whenever anybody went there in the first place, everyone kept saying to them, well, what are you going to do when it's finished?
What's the long-term aim, yeah?
No, not long-term aim. Forget the aim. Aim is like years away. What is going to happen when you leave? Unless you're investing to be here for 40, 50 years, generations, when you leave, it's going to come back again. Oh, no, we'll exterminate them. Well, you can't exterminate an idea.
Because you're not here.
Right. So they're there for a number of years. And then you get loads of, like, people saying... Also, the idea was, anyway, a month ago, pull out troops, everything else. The trouble you have is people that were there cooperating with American forces and translating everything else, they live there still.
Yeah.
And when their protection goes, and the Taliban come, they're fucked.
They're the first ones to go.
They are fucked. And they had promises made to them as well. And the British are classically good at this as well. Britain are no ever anything are never anything but unblameless because they're fucking to blame for a lot of things anyway. They're renowned for going over there and saying, yeah, it's fine, we'll look after you. And then fuck your visas.
Look at
Gurkhas, right?
Gurkhas?
It's a very simple... Gurkhas, troops used to fight, Indonesian troops used to fight with the British armed forces and everything else. And they were promised pensions and also coming to England as well. When the time came up for it, their pensions were cut down to below British soldier wages, which is disgusting. British troops said that's fucking wrong. They fought alongside us shoulder to shoulder. They get the same pension we get. And also the visas to come to this country were revoked at the same time as well, even though they're entitled to them, so were their families, as per promises made. But,
why hasn't anyone heard about that?
They have. It happened years ago. They have heard about it. It's there if you want to read about it. But again, it's a case of what do you consume your content on? How do you want to hear your news?
True.
Right. So, back to Afghanistan stuff. So, America's pulled out. The projections were going to be that Taliban should come back and take over the country within about 6 months to a year, if at all.
That's what they thought was going to happen.
They thought that originally. And they also go, well, we've got enough armed troops we've left behind there. We've trained up all the soldiers, everything else. They should hold them off. It'll be okay. Not going to happen. Because at no point was it a seamless army with American and Afghani troops. It was American troops and Afghani troops were something beneath them. And like Rump boys, they're demoralised, they were unequipped and everything else. And Americans did everything anyway. And when they were gone, it's like, well, we can't handle that, what you've just done. And then Taliban came in like, woof. And they took over under a month. That's why it's gone so major, because everyone had tried to get out of the country. They can't get out of the country. Taliban now shut off the airports, I believe, and people can't leave. They've told people who cooperated as translators to stay in the house. If you leave the house, we'll kill you. Not just people who translated and helped, but the families as well, and people associated to them as well. All the people are now scared for their lives. Great. Yeah, that's to unpack. That's the lovely news there. And it's heartbreakingly tragic, but then what it does also, people never going to trust the West. Why the fuck would you trust those guys for? Right?
So we pull people out of there, fine, but then it wasn't like they got rid of the problem. They just pushed it out. They pushed it out, and now it's come back in.
They took over the country from the Taliban. Taliban was still there, lingering. Right? It's like an infection. They're still going to. And it's horrible to call them that as well because it's very dehumanizing. I don't know the Taliban at all or anything else, but then talking about them in such derogatory kind of ways, making the US and UK forces seem superior is just stupid. But it's a inherently imperial
they're all
thing,
people.
I think.
Yeah,
they're all people, but they're fucked up people too, right? They were still there anyway, and then they were constantly fighting with the forces regardless, because if they weren't fighting, the forces wouldn't be there. The moment they get a power vacuum, they go into it. The best... I'm a geek, as people may know.
Hang on, didn't the power vacuum thing happen when... Who was that dictator who got killed?
Saddam Hussein?
The other one.
Libya?
Gaddafi,
yeah, same stuff.
Gaddafi, yeah. So he got killed, and then it just turned into a power vacuum, and then you had things like slave auctions happening and stuff there.
All kinds of fuckeries happen. I mean,
so it's not like if you just kill someone and don't put someone in place and stay there and monitor it, it's going to be fine. It's just you create more political unrest.
Well, I think my favourite analogy for this, to make it simple to people, was I'm a big geek. There's a Spider-Man comic years ago, and I think it's Spider-Man, the newer one, so Unlimited Spider-Man, where he goes in there and he basically kills the Kingpin. Gets arrested, throws him in jail, boom, done. He's like, great, I've taken out the biggest guy, the biggest crime person in New York. I've taken him out, bam, done, wicked. A week later, the streets are a fucking mess. There's crime everywhere. There's people fighting. There's gangs, all this shit. He's like, what the fuck's going on? The detective pulls him and goes, you idiots. Yeah, the Kingpin's the biggest guy in charge, but he keeps all the other dickheads in check. Right? It's called the bigger picture. We could bust him, right? We could bust him down straight away, absolutely. But then all the shit he's controlling comes out. All the problems he was suppressing come out. And so you haven't made the situation better, you've made it a lot worse for everyone else living here. So now they've got 4 gangs to deal with, whereas one gang controlled everything, kept it relatively calm and peaceful, and took care of the shit. Now there's 4 gangs fighting over pieces, and everyone else is stuck in the bloody middle.
But it's like that in Narcos. So even in Narcos, when one major family dies, or one major person dies, you have another person vying for the top.
Right, and you get a fight for it as well, and different people fighting over who get back to. Or kings and queens when kings die and everything. Same sort of idea, right?
Pretty much.
But yeah, so that's what happened there. But it's a question that everyone asked them, well, what's going to happen when you leave? They kick the can down the road.
Never really addressed it, did they?
Never addressed it. I mean, Rogan had a guy on years ago who said the way to do it is you don't leave completely, you leave like a crack commander force of about 5,000 troops.
Yeah.
And they're basically just like your SAS, hardcore, or Marines, whatever, and they'll just go and bam, hit him there. Just be a strike force.
But they'll never leave them, will they?
They'll never leave, but the point is the Taliban won't take over completely either. And you'll have a chance of democracy coming into it. Because what you want is generations of non-Taliban being in charge. They're not in charge for like 1 generation, 2 generations, 3 generations, 2 generations or something at least, then people aren't used to them and they haven't got the power base to recruit people because they're an old thing.
This is the thing about war, like it's never straightforward. You can't just go ahead and just do something on a whim and just think, yeah, it's going to be fine.
But wars
it always has consequences.
Wars
end. I know they end, but it's not like you just have a clear victory and everything's clean afterwards. Like you have other issues that come after it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And that's whenever people say you can't go to war and stuff like that, and it's wrong to have fights and all this stuff and to do that, you got to think, yeah, it is. But then if you leave it as it is, it's not going to get any better, is it?
So what's the alternative?
There isn't one. The alternative is you probably have to go and stay there, and you have to monitor it. That's pretty much it. There is no correct answer.
You're hoping the monitoring people are benevolent and well-intended and good.
Big fucking hope that.
Right, they're not there for any alternative means if they want them to leave the country. They're not going to rob the country blind and take everything out of it, and then they can say, "Oh, see you guys, bye." By the way, happy Independence Day.
Why? Why is it? When's Independence Day? What?
Indian Independence Day was like last weekend, wasn't it?
Wouldn't
You
have
and
known.
current affairs, man. I swear to God.
Wouldn't have known, man. Indian Independence Day. Don't care. Really don't care. Probably
neither
logged
do
off
I.
Twitter that day. So
Yeah, I got to log on and get all the
get all the
India.
J-ins and stuff. Yeah, great.
Oh man, yeah, India just
Can't wait.
yeah. Disclaimer: I'm not a fan of India in any way, shape, or form. I think it's a fucked up.
I think I've made it clear on this podcast that I'm not either. But yeah.
Yeah, but some people know it's a history, it's a heritage. I'm like, yeah, whatever, dude. Fuck out of here with that
Kind of a
bullshit.
fucked up history and heritage to be part of. With Afghanistan, isn't it rich in resources as well?
Apparently, natural gas and everything else there. Yeah, absolutely. And
So
opium.
say
And
if the
drugs.
Taliban get a hold of that, doesn't
Yeah.
that mean that they could potentially trade and then
Well, that's where you get trade embargoes, and
Right.
trade sanctions, and everything else.
there's ways around that. There's always ways around that.
Yeah, China and Russia.
Yeah,
There
exactly.
you go. So then it's a case of, well, if we don't trade with them, they will. The only reason Taliban was supported, they were called the Mujahideen, weren't they, originally? And the US forces helped arm them and train them to fight Russia off.
That's how it all happened.
That's how it originally, well, not originally started, but how it progressed to where we are right now. So the
So
Mujahideen.
take me through that. So what happened? They were called the Mujahideen.
I think the idea was Russia were trying to take over and influence Afghanistan. Russian forces
Right.
were. The Mujahideen were the forces of Afghanistan fighting and opposing it, and America sponsored them, gave them training, gave them arms, gave them weapons to help them fight back against the Mujahideen. And that's how the Taliban forces became more militarized and more organized, and had a relationship with America. So when people say America trained Taliban, that's what they mean. Obviously, there's many degrees of separation that happen after that get to the stage of Taliban become Taliban. But that's essentially what it comes down to.
If you go back to the very beginning, that's how it happened.
Yeah, essentially, that's what. No, but not the very beginning, because obviously the Mujahideen were there beforehand. There were other invaders before as well. But the point was, America didn't want those resources going to Russia, and rather than directly opposing
They had a
them,
vested interest to go there and obviously
Right.
do that.
right. So rather than
I
opposing
was thinking then, in
themselves,
which case, why would they go and do something like that for, say, Crimea or anything like that? There's
Well,
nothing there for them.
well, that's it. Well, yeah.
And it was annexed and no one cared.
It might weaken Russia, maybe. That's about it. But
Yeah.
Vlad doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's like, whatever, dude. So, yeah. Interesting. So that's my current take on Afghanistan.
It's fucked, man. there is no
Listen, my battery's
there's
just
no
dying.
clean way
Let
to
me
go
plug in
about
my
it.
laptop. Okay, battery's dying. 1 second.
Go on.
Very
Like I'm saying,
frustrating me.
there is no clean way to do anything like this. There is no way to go about war in the right way. If anybody has any ideas, genuinely, shout me. Because I've listened to podcasts about people talking about it, and I still don't have a full idea of how to go about it in the right way.
Trade
or how to
embargoes.
combat it.
Trade embargoes, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. All right, next topic. I think we've rinsed that out. UK court ruling in bride price dispute. So, Bal sent me this earlier, and I was like, we got to talk about this because he knows I'm getting married. I'm not asking for no down payment, but
No, you don't ask. She does.
okay. So take me through what happened.
All right, why do you just Google first? What's a dowry?
So a dowry is a promise
No.
of a down payment.
Google it.
Why?
Because let's be accurate with this whole thing here, okay? Because you're getting married.
But I'm
have
not
it on
getting a
record.
dowry. Okay. Full disclaimer: I'm not getting a dowry. Okay.
No,
Right? I
you're
want to make
not,
this clear.
She is.
The amount of property or money bought by a bride to her husband on their bought by a bride to her husband
Yeah.
on their marriage.
Yeah.
So she owes me money.
Right. And a dowry, right? But we do it the opposite way in Asian culture. We give the woman gold as part of the dowry for wedding. If it all
Oh
goes,
shit! All right.
That's where the
Okay.
family. That's where the gold comes from, kid.
I thought the goal was just being nice.
Being nice. Yeah, it's just being nice.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. There are so many stupid traditions and cultures we have, it's unbelievable. Right? You know, like, I think when I got married, the phrase we always heard was, it's Suggan.
Yeah.
What? Suggan. Why would we do that? Suggan.
And Suggan means what exactly? Blessing.
It's zero to do with religion, so it can't be a
Yeah,
blessing.
it's just culture.
It's culture. Nothing to do with religion at all. You got to wear eyeliner. Why? Suggan. Fuck off. You got to pay your sister. Why? Suggan. What? You got to put this on your turban. No, I don't. Yeah, you do. It looks pretty. I don't give a fuck. Get off.
Sucking.
Right? Sucking. You got to eat this. Laddu's got nuts inside it, Indy.
Yeah.
Mum, I'm allergic. It's sucking. It's like, I'm fucking allergic. I've got a photograph of Indy. Like, there's a laddu here. He's like this. Like, get away from me. I'm allergic.
Yeah, I pull my head out the way, and Mum's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Hello."
You want to kill
feeding, me? Right? I'm not backy.
I'm sat there thinking, yeah, feed the bastard, right? Because I've got history on this whole thing with Indy, right?
Because you want to EpiPen me.
I want to EpiPen you, man. So, backup story here. When Indy was first allergic, he had when you have allergic responses, the first one's relatively mild. The second one's normally a lot worse. His first one ever was he got a slightly swollen lip from I think it was an amaretto style ice cream. Had a nut inside it, right?
Yeah.
And so he swollen lip and like, oh wow, his lip's swollen. That's a bit bad. Cool. And then another time, I don't know what he ate second time round. Something else.
No, it was the same night. It was the same night.
You had the lip first, and then that was a separate incident, wasn't it? It wasn't the same incident.
My lip swelled, and I was like, "What's wrong with my lip?" And it was getting big. And then I said, "I'm struggling." I said, "My throat's getting a bit weird."
At this point, I got in my car, drove to 24-hour Boots, bought a shed load of Piriton, drove back, gave him like 4 spoonfuls because you can't overdose on Piriton. You kind of can't. Long story, but you can't. Yeah. And gave it to him, and then drove him to A&D. On the way to A&D, I have a nice car, by the way. I quite like my car. It was a very lovely car. Driving, Indy goes,
Mercedes CLS.
Bow, in the front, bow, I'm going to hell. That's okay, kid, open it up. No, bow, sorry, can't help it. Straight into the footwell.
Straight on the floor.
Just like, woof. I'm sorry, man, I'm sorry. I'm like, dude, man. Tony said, I'm sorry.
It was 3 times. It was 3 times.
Open the fucking window, but okay, fine, cool, whatever. Get to the hospital, check him in. Hospital was crap because whatever. They go, well, you've had Piriton, you've thrown up, you're still breathing.
Not much more you can do now. You're fine. Right. You're alive.
So Indy's all sorry and sad. I had to clean my car with like bin bags and just, it wasn't the prettiest way in the world. And I've always made him promise, all right, that's fine. But whenever you get allergic reaction, give me the EpiPen.
There have been times. There have been a couple of occasions.
I haven't been there when it happened, man.
No. There have been occasions that I've had a reaction, but I've just got the Piriton in time. That's all.
Ah, right. So the Piriton is basically jab blocking me. Is that what it comes down to?
I see. It's jab blocking you. Wow.
Right.
That's a new version of cock block, people.
Hey, man. Jab block. That's it.
Jab block.
So, yeah.
Going back to this Dowry story.
Dowry story, right. So, essentially, what it comes down to, they call it mer in Islamic weddings, is what the groom side promised the bride. Mm-hmm. Right? Is an Islamic tradition and culture. All right, cool. Well, this wedding that happened was, I haven't got this in front of me, by the way, I'm just going back from memory.
Yeah.
The wedding happened, they got divorced, and she goes to her in-laws, where's my mer? Now, a lot of times, with Asians especially, there's a lot of braggadocio culture of you going over and above what you can actually afford.
Yeah.
They were like, well, we'll give you, I think the total was 55k. They go to her, here's 5k, done. You paid off. That's the mer that you promised. She's like, no, fuck that. You promised 55k. I want that money. And they go, well, no. So they went to court, and it's been accepted to be listened to by a judge on the premise that it was a verbal agreement agreed between her father, his father, him, her, and a witness. So if they got the verbal contract, well, it's a contract heard, and
it's still dangerous, else. Man. Like, because they got a precedent of that set. Verbal contracts are now binding.
Not just contracts, but cultural law and cultural reasoning as well. Because the idea is you get a law that's president and you take it further to a next step beyond and try and use that same principle to groundbreak for other places as well. So that's what's going on now. It's being heard in courts, and it makes me one for the lawyers. It makes me one the case of it got heard in court, people spend a little bit of money, waste a bit of time, judge goes, what are you on about? No, divorce court's fine. Or they may say it's a contract route of it was a contract, it was agreed, it was done, it was said, and it should be honoured. In which case, other religious things that can be said and done where money is involved, which happens an awful lot in Asian culture with money and religious things, like an awful lot.
Because it gets mixed up between religion and culture.
Right, exactly. And it's kind of embarrassing how much it is involved. You know, you give people money, you give them like £21 so they don't break up, because it's bad not to give a whole number.
But how can you prove that there was an oral agreement? You can't.
Witnesses, Indy.
Yeah, but you can. Even then, witnesses don't prove anything.
If the idea is So let's hear it out. I'm not a lawyer, but the idea is if you've got an agreement between two parties with a paid amount said, right, and it's accepted these agreements happen as well. So you can't dispute merit exists. It doesn't exist. It exists. So you agree that merit exists? Yes. You agree it exists? Yes. Do weddings have this? Yes. Is it accepted to commonly accepted weddings? Yes. Did you do one of these agreements? No. Really? Why? Did you do everything else Islamically, not merit? No. Right. So you probably did it. Okay, great. What did you agree? Oh, 5K. Really 55K. So what's a common agreement normally stated on? What's the basis on? And you go from there. So you've agreed they exist. You agree they're said. You agree it's an agreement.
Or you could just sit there and say, if I get all of my family to sit there and agree that none of us said any of this was true and we didn't agree to any of it, then what? Now it's my word against yours. Your witnesses against my witnesses.
Okay, fine. But then you could argue people biased and they're not biased. Also, you're lying in a court of law as well. Perjury. Do people really want to risk that as well at the same time too? Some people may lie their ass off, absolutely fine. But you can get two opposing things going on here as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I think the difference here is that they paid her $5,000 already. Which means you've kind of already gone towards agreeing that it exists.
If she accepted it, I don't know if she did or not. If you accept the compensation down to a reduced amount, it's fine, but I don't think she accepted it at all. If it was
so she was offered 55K.
She was told
hang on. So she was told that she would get 55K. She then said I was given 5K, but then didn't agree to accepting the 5K. But now she wants the full 55 that she should have got that she didn't get.
I think that's what happened. I haven't got the full thing in front of me. And also, don't forget, I'm going from a news article here. And generally speaking, in the UK, news articles aren't really the best researched or spoken about.
What I've noticed about news articles, just as a side little rant, they make things fucking difficult to read sometimes. It's not abundantly clear what they're trying to say. So I read it and I'm like, what? And then I have to go back up and start again. And I'm thinking, this doesn't make sense because they're obviously looking at it from like a readership point of view. So there is a thing on websites called
fact check.
What's it called? No, it's called Hotjar, which means you can see how much someone browses on a page, and you can see how much they browse on each different page, right? Mm-hmm. So you're trying to fit as much as you fucking can in the first paragraph. Because I do this, I click on an article, I read the first paragraph, I'm like, yeah, check out. So they're thinking, all right, the first paragraph, therefore, as a journalist, you have to fit in as much information as you can to make it as appealing and clean as it is. But by doing that, you overcomplicate it and it makes no sense.
Clickbait it, basically.
Unless you're the BBC or Guardian, no, you don't clickbait it.
Well, you kind of do. I'll tell you what I mean. So I've got the article here, right? A landmark judgment could bring part of the UK law into line with Sharia law in their position on bride price payments. It's to be announced this week in a central London County Court in a case backed by a women's charity. That's their headline, okay? Mm-hmm. So landmark judgment could come about. So is it coming about or not? Is it not? And it goes into afterwards. But the idea is, what they've done straight away, they brought up Sharia law, bring it in line with UK law. What they haven't stated is it could be in line with contract law, which is what it's being based on. Mm. Clickbaiting, and that's, in my opinion, that's clickbaiting, isn't it? Because Sharia law doesn't exist in the UK. If they believe
it's not bait clickbaiting, is it? It's not that you won't believe in block capitals.
Right, but the idea of a clickbaited paragraph has occurred in newspapers for years. The Sun does it all the time.
Yeah, because it's like, read more on page 6 or something. Yeah.
No, not just that. Anytime you had an article about anything, right, any sort of story, the first paragraph was one sentence that was probably the most sort of like impactful to give the most amount of the story across to make you want to read on more. Yeah. Even back when I was in school, we'd studied newspapers and writing styles. The Sun always had that. You know, tabloids always had that to get you engaged.
The Sun have it down to a T. I'll give them that. They're very good copywriters, and they know how to get people on it. And journalistically,
funky headlines and stuff.
The funky headlines and stuff. It works.
Yeah. So here we go. So previously, mayor cases have been heard in court already, but only written ones. This is the first time it's been a verbal agreement. So now the argument shifted from it being a mayor argument to being verbal versus non-verbal. Have there been non-verbal agreements argued in court? Yes, there have. Have they been successful? Yes, they have.
So therefore, it's sort of a landmark, isn't it? It's not really the big landmark.
Right. Now you scrape it a little bit and suddenly the headline now, if you've got a teacher with a red pen, you cross out landmark because it's not really a landmark because we've had other rulings before on mayor cases. You cross out Sharia law. A judgment could bring about UK law in line with contract law.
It's not that appealing, is it?
Not really, no.
But add in Landmark.
Landmark and Sharia law. And this is The Guardian, by the way, we're quoting here. The left-wing Guardian newspaper, right? They're going to get their click somehow, my guy. Right?
They're one of the only websites that need donations.
Paywall. Yeah, they haven't got paywall.
Yeah, because I've seen a few articles on something and I've tried clicking on the Telegraph or the Times and you can't read past the first paragraph.
Yeah, I don't want to. And the Torygraph I shouldn't pay for anyway. Fuck off.
I don't want to, read it. But say if I want some journalistic balance, I might want to read the opposite view just to see.
Are you outside of finding ways around the paywall? Because they do exist. You can get around it.
I haven't actually tried.
If you put effort into it, you can get around it quite. There are ways of doing it.
Right. Speaking
of getting around things, I saw Suicide Squad the other day.
What's that got to do with getting around things?
I didn't pay for it.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah. But again, if you try hard enough, you can find a way around a lot of paywalls in one day society.
Was it good?
It's way better than the first one, which was shockingly bad. It's a good film.
Yeah, but the first one, the bar was so low.
Fine. It was a good film, but it's a bit zany. And the trouble is, it's one of those, in the same line of how Thor, Ragnarok, and Guardians of the Galaxy is a bit zany at times.
You mean zany as in like comedic?
No, as in just wacky. But
it worked with those films. That's the difference.
Yeah, okay, fine, cool. But then those films can get typecast pretty quickly because that style of humor and that style of filmmaking can be quite repetitive. And it's kind of like, okay. Really? That's what you're going for? Okay, cool. I get it. It's that sort of genre of film. But that trope can get worn out really quick. Like Quentin Tarantino's trope gets worn out really quick.
He's only doing one more film, isn't he?
First third, end third, middle third. First third, end third, middle third. Blood, 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 blood. Tarantino. Right? So that's the idea of Suicide Squad. It's cool in places like they do a really good job with Harley Quinn. Where she's killing loads of people.
She was the only one who kept her role. They changed everyone.
No. They got the other guy as well.
The fact that you said that other guy says it all.
Yeah, but that's because I don't know the actor's name. McKinnick, whatever his name is. He played the leader, Rick Flag. There you go, Rick Flag.
Right, okay.
Right. They replaced Will Smith basically with Idris Elba.
One black guy for another, okay.
Hey, look, one fucking awesome black guy with another fucking awesome black guy. Let's call it how it is.
Yeah, right? But Will Smith didn't do a good job. I'm his biggest fan. He didn't do a good job in that one, man.
Well, again, he chose the job. It was a shit role, but fine.
It was as corny as his role in the Wild Wild West. It had that kind of vibe to it. It had that vibe with it. I was like, what? I didn't understand the character he was going for.
Dial it in. It wasn't really Deadshot either. It was like some other version of Deadshot.
Yeah.
It's surprising, man, because Will Smith did some cool films. Like, actually, no, to be fair, there was a film called Hancock he did as well.
I thought Hancock was okay. I didn't think it was bad.
Yeah, it was okay until you remember what it was originally called and what it was all about originally.
What was it originally called?
It was called Tonight He Comes. It's about a superhero kind of sex, because if he does, he ejaculates and blows women apart. That was the original script of Hancock. If you watch the extended version of it, he gets a girl back to his trailer, shags her, and he goes, okay, when I go to the mountaintop and I say it, get off, just get off. She's okay, doing it, and he goes, get off. And she throws across the room, and then it zooms back, and you look at the roof, and you hear like, badoof, badoof, badoof. That was the original.
This worries me.
I'm a geek. We know these things, right? That's what the film was called, Tonight He Comes. And it came from there to script and developed further on. Right?
Wasn't it a comic?
I don't think it was that one. I don't think Tonight He Comes was a comic originally. So, I've not read a Hancock comic. The comics can be derived from in some different shape and ways, but that one I don't think was a comic at all. I think it's just a film. The concept was, can Superman have sex? And someone took that idea and made like
I see.
Yeah. Who can tolerate it and stuff.
So you would recommend me to watch that then?
Oh yeah, I'll watch it. It's a good film, but it's going to get tired really quick. That trope will get tired super quick. Like, watching that, and I'm thinking it's James Gunn, he's going to do Guardians 3. Okay, yeah, bring on Guardians 3. I'm way more excited for Spider-Man No Way Home. That's way more excitable for me. And also multiverse coming up.
I mean, I'm not excited for Phase 4 at all. I'm not.
Really?
I'm like, okay.
You seen Loki,
because
right?
No, a lot of it's all new actors, new characters. So it's a risk. It's a risk to see if it's gonna pay out well.
Yeah, but you're not gonna be James Bond, have the same thing over and over again, different actors.
No, of course not. But I'm thinking, speaking of Bond, I do want to see that. But
do you? Why?
I just like
Bond
it.
to me is like Kanye West album. What's the hype about?
It's not a hype. I just like watching the films. That's all.
Okay.
I quite like it.
I just love how long it's been delayed and delayed.
I'm surprised it's still not out yet. It would have been out by now.
No, but like all these cinemas, all these filmmaking companies are bricking it with like the releases because the money coming back is hard.
They still put out the Fast and Furious. They still put out everything else.
Well, Fast and Furious didn't do as well as it should have done either.
But they still put it out.
They still put it out. They still put it out, right? And then they realised, whoa, hang about that. Should have done a lot more than what it did. And China saved that fucking film.
Yeah.
Which is why John Cena had to apologise in Chinese.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was madness. So yeah, but then like Black Widow is suing the studio because there's a box office return gate. She gets a cut of.
Yeah, so she gets a cut of it, and they sort of cut her legs out from doing that by releasing it on Disney simultaneously. And said she isn't getting any of the money from that. Right,
because she did a contract in such a way that would have made sense before, but then
she did ask for a contract to be renegotiated, and they didn't accept.
Yeah, well, again, no benevolent people here at all. Disney are assholes. And then you have the same problem with Shang-Chi, which I also am looking forward to because I like the idea of it. Shang-Chi, in the comics, basically Bruce Lee, but mystical martial arts. Not Iron Fist, though. Don't get confused.
That was tragic, man.
That was horrific.
That TV show was so tragic. If anybody's listening, please do not watch that on Netflix and waste your time.
It's gone.
Any of those? No, it's still there. All of them are still there.
I'm sure Marvel took it down. Like we're that embarrassed by it. We've got Disney Plus. Yoink!
I was recommended it by I was recommended it on Netflix. I was recommended that Luke Cage, all the ones that got cancelled.
You see, so anyone tells me like to watch a shit TV show, I judge them as people. And I instantly say, right, you are no bueno for me. Anything you say.
No. I'm not saying as somebody told me, but when you're sitting there and
recommend TV shows,
and Netflix flashes up those little images, and it says, watch this now, and it still shows Luke Cage. I'm like, that got pulled the plug on a while ago.
Yeah, no, Luke Cage was bad because they stretch it out too long. Like a storyline can be 6 episodes.
But The Punisher was good. That was only one season.
Daredevil was good. Daredevil 1 and 2. Daredevil 1 and 2 were good.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Right, but again, oh my god, the Defenders were terrible. Jeez,
I didn't watch it.
It was so bad, right? So yeah, again, Luke Cage thing that was bad, and it could have been really cool. You had Method Man in it. I was hyped for Method Man being in it. Like, yeah, but Method Man.
Obviously, from a Wu-Tang background and stuff.
Yeah, Wu-Tang stuff, right? He's shouting, when he walks in there and he's got shame on a brother who tried to run game on a brother, and he's smashing up. The word isn't brother, but I can't say the N-word because I don't do that. Smashing all the bad guys.
Thank you for agreeing with that. Thank you.
Yeah, look, I'm not black. Simple. Accept the invitations here, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he goes in there and he's smashing what, and they hear the Wu-Tang, they've got the headphones on. That's just cool. That's a cool scene. But there's so much dry shit before and after. You had Mahershala Ali in it, who was a wicked actor. And
it's just filler, isn't it? A lot of it's filler with a lot of these TV shows.
Yeah.
Maybe that's one thing that the new Marvel shows haven't done.
They're tight. 6 episodes, boom, get it out. 6 episodes, boom, get it out. That's it.
And it's still good. Like, each episode has a purpose. It explains it. It's not like it's just like little cliffhanger. Yeah.
It does.
That's why I stopped watching stuff like Arrow, The Flash, because it was like 40 minutes of fluff and then 2 minutes of like the real story.
The last 5, every episode is the one you want to watch about. That was it.
And I was like, this is long.
Oh, there's a wicked YouTube version of I'm Barry Allen. I'm the fastest man alive. Are you though? Let's rewind. And he goes, okay, fine. I'm Barry Allen. I'm the second fastest man alive. Wait a second. What about Reverse Flash? Okay, fine. I'm Barry Allen. I'm the third fastest. Whoop. And zoom. I'm Barry Allen. And he's like, oh, forget this, man. I'm fast, okay? That's it.
Yeah.
But there are other guys faster. Okay, great. That's it? Just fast?
That's pretty much the concept of Flash, isn't it?
Yeah.
I used to love it, but then they were pushing it to like 25 episodes a season, and I'm like 25 a season. I can't be bothered.
No,
that's a 40-minute investment every week. It's too much.
Arrow was good season 1, season 2.
But then they started doing that crossover stuff like, oh, you got to watch this little Universal crossover with Supergirl. And
only 6 episodes at a time. Only 6 at a time.
Yeah, but then you felt compelled to download another random episode from another TV show to understand what had happened with the dialogue.
You are so spoiled, Indy. You felt
no, but it was annoying.
Click. No, but hear me out. I felt
compelled
to download. I mean, look, I had to go click, and type it in.
I can't be asked. If you're going to do things in a chronological order, that makes life easier. Well, instead of doing it like 5 episodes weekly and expecting people to make sure that they have. Well, look, I'm savvy enough to download shit, yeah.
Yeah.
But the poor fuckers that have to sit there and download and get a sub to the CW or whatever it was on.
Yeah, CW.
That's long. That's very long.
Right. Okay. Well,
and
yeah.
Expensive.
I mean, what I used to love watching was the viewing figures for Batwoman. Ooh.
Never bothered.
If you ever want to see a TV show die, I never watched it, but the viewing figures were just hilarious. They started off here and they halved every week exponentially downwards.
Like the half-life of a
radioactive
what
isotope.
Was it in science?
A radioactive isotope.
There you go, radioactive isotope.
Yeah.
Literally. Like that.
And it was so radioactive, the main actress quit after season 1.
Jesus.
And they replaced it with another, and it's like, oh dear, this is not going to end well. There's too many Mary Sues. You know what Mary Sue is? Oh, okay.
No.
So there's a lot of conflict when it comes to superheroes that women don't get a positive, strong figure.
And because they're depicted in a sexualized way.
No, not that. The idea is they go, well, they can't be strong enough. You know, they have to be like, whatever, they're strong. Women are strong. You don't just make guys strong and that makes them good. There's a struggle along the way, and that makes the struggle is what makes you believe and have faith and invest in the character. Iron Man had struggle. Captain America had struggle, right?
Yeah.
And people like that. The trouble you have is when they do a lot of female heroes, they don't give them struggle, they just give them powers, and that's it. Case in point, Rey Skywalker, or her name was, Rey from Star Wars, the new one. She just got powers. She just was good. She just picked up a lightsaber and battered up Kylo Ren and been training for ages. Because that's it. Now we've got a strong female protagonist. Yay! Guys is like, yeah, but it's a Mary Sue it. Just making a strong like just as is. Captain Marvel is the strongest superhero. Fuck's sake, everyone hates Brie Larson. Jesus Christ.
Where's the Mary Sue thing? Like, I still don't follow. Where'd that reference start from?
I don't know where it starts from, but the idea is you're Mary Sueing the character. You're making them powerful with no struggle, and therefore no one invests in it. And then you moan these characters aren't likable. Well, they're not likable because, you know, like Black Widow, you saw the struggle of Black Widow. You saw her go through, build her way up, and just be cool, and also have other issues along the way.
Yeah.
Right? Fine. It wasn't just instantly, I'm strongest. Hulk is the strongest, but he's got a downside to him with his ego and his anger and his control. Thor was deemed to be unworthy, so every cat had a struggle. Yeah. You've seen Captain Marvel. What was the struggle in that?
How did she get her powers? Because she's a Kree, right?
No. The Tesseract blew up a little bit and it gave her powers. They go, people say the struggle was she was told she wasn't good enough as a kid growing up, then she became good enough.
You mean like every brown parent told their kid growing up?
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't mean shit to me, bro.
Yeah, they had one little like Rocky flashback montage and that was it. So, not likable. No one likes it, and they go, all these male comic fans are all chauvinistic. That's why they don't like female characters being strong. Are you kidding me? Wonder Woman 1 did really well. Black Widow, people love it, right? But going past that and going beyond that, not great.
Difficult.
Very difficult. That's why.
How did you get into comics?
How did I get into comics?
Yeah, because you kind of got me into it, but how did you get into it?
We have 3 uncles. Mm-hmm. They lived our mamas used to live in Warwick. So they left comics at our mom's house. Our mom is our late Nanny G. They left comics in boxes at Nanny G's house. And I like reading. These were 10p comics. The reprints, right? 10p weeklies. And they're all stacked in order. I go up there and just read them. And these are like 1980s comics. Like, no complex stuff there. I used to love them as a kid. I used to read a lot of Judge Dredd. Really cool to read. And there were some trade paperbacks there. Now, a trade paperback is a collection of the whole story in one book. So you pick the whole thing up and you read the whole thing. Cool. So I read about Thor, Hulk, all the other guys. But then I grew up in the 80s. And growing up in the 80s, and comics weren't really cool. Comics were cool in the 70s for kids. Then they went out of vogue. Kind of in the 90s for a bit, then out of vogue. It comes in cycles, right? So read them then. No one's into comics apart from me at school. I was the only one into comics at all. Not really what I like comics, so okay, fine. Comics were done. And then I'd always read a little bit here or there. Then I think back when I was about 13, 14, Wolverine came out with Wolverine 100. Had a holographic cover on it, which is awesome. So I wanted that, so I got that. And I fell back into comics again. And I got some comics, so I read a bit more there and then. But dabbled a bit at university. Always kept my hand in it a little bit, but there are other things that take, priority in life, like be it hip hop, be it basketball, music, all those other things would take priority ahead of comics. Wrestling was a big thing as well for me. I used to love wrestling as well. So I was always into comics, and after I finished university and I was working, I would just buy comics. Like, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I buy comics.
Yeah.
My comics just went boom to the roof.
I've been to Bal's house. He's got like 3 bookshelves worth of comics.
Yeah.
Fully stacked?
About 3 stacked up.
How many shelves?
1, 2. I will go upstairs and show you, but I can't be moving everything.
Yeah.
But 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 double bookshelves. 4 shelves. No, 1, 2, 3, 4. Make it 5. 5 like that. Double bookshelves wide. 2 of those and 1 half one as well.
Yeah,
Full of comics in order. So you can pick up here and read to here, and you get the whole thing.
They're all stacked.
These aren't individual issues. These are like the collection trade paperbacks.
The graphic, is it called the graphic novel?
Graphic novels, yeah. Then after a while after that, I started buying comics themselves, just for the covers, because some of the covers are freaking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
And I love the comic covers, so I've got some comics as well that I think are cool. And I keep telling Indy for years, the best comic he should be reading is Invincible. He hasn't read it still. I've tried for years. And he's got an argument. If you guys
ever see the size of
the size of the comic is big.
If you see the size of this comic, it's like carrying, I don't know.
It's this big.
It's like carrying an encyclopedia.
It is this big. It is this big.
For listeners, it's like, what is that you're holding?
This is it's actually a server. Long story. This is a phone.
Okay, so
this is a phone. It's a phone width.
Imagine an encyclopedia.
Yeah.
Same thickness.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Same thickness. There you go. That's a fair reference to people. An encyclopedia is a comic. Carrying that around, no bueno.
You don't carry it around. Just read it at home.
Still, no.
Okay.
It's too much, man.
Well, I bought the smaller books as well of the same thing anyway. But I still contend it's the best comic I've read, and I love it.
Well, the TV show came out, and that was very impressive. So I was very, very happy.
Yeah, but I've been banging that drum for like years before the TV show came out.
I know you have. And then I found the TV show, and I was like, this is very good.
Yeah, I called it first. It's only good.
You probably did, but the TV show is good, and now I want to wait for the next TV show.
Yeah, the
next series.
The comic's better.
but the TV show did it justice. You got to
it didn't. I think the animation could be a lot better. I think it's a very simple animation.
Yeah, the animation was very simple. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they could have done a way better. Like the guy who drew the comics called Ryan Otterly, who's freaking awesome as an artist. I really like his style, and he also does Spider-Man now. We did it for a bit as well. His art style is phenomenally good, like really, really crisp, and he developed it on Invincible. So yeah, it goes on from there as well. So that and Dragon Ball Z are my 2 biggest things right now. They're just bang awesome. Love Dragon Ball Z.
You've got more time than I do, man.
Yeah, well, I read faster than you as well.
There you go. That's how you get more time.
I have more time, and it takes less time. So it goes both ways.
Do you watch stuff on YouTube at times 1.5?
I listen to voice notes at times 1.5 as well. Actually, that's my biggest worry in this podcast. I talk super fast, and you're used to it. So I don't think you can call me out on it when I do it. So we're about an hour.
I can call you out on it. I can call you out on it. It's
about an hour or so.
You've been okay.
Right now. I've been okay.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So my handwriting's horrifically bad.
I have noticed that you've taken it down just a notch. Like I can tell that you're not talking as fast. Yeah.
Oh right. Okay. I tend to say to people like my handwriting's bad and I speak really quickly because I think even faster. And my hand speed isn't fast enough. My voice isn't quick enough. My tongue isn't dexterous enough. Dexterous, maybe. Yeah, my tongue lacks dexterity to keep up. There we go. See, I use big words.
That's one thing I never thought you would ever say about yourself.
What?
Your tongue is not dexterous enough.
Yeah, Well, it's not. I mean, I've tried the Busta Rhymes challenge. I just can't do it.
Which one? The Look At Me Now?
Look at me now. Jeez, that guy goes.
Can't do it, man.
I understand it and hear it. And yeah, I'm with that, right? So yeah, that was just... So comic-wise, that's my thing right now. Love Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball's a weird one, though, because the comics are way ahead of the TV shows, which is then way ahead of the ones that aren't dubbed. So you're all the way back here somewhere.
Oh, so you're trying to watch stuff that's dubbed in a different language.
Yeah,
and you got to read the subtitles.
Yeah, I read all the time. I listen to... I had a lot of subtitles on anyways as a kid. That's partly why I read so quickly. So me and Harpreet, our sister, used to always put subtitles on TV. Partly because mum's partly deaf.
We do it because of mum, because mum's deaf, yeah.
But also on top of that, because dad never shuts up.
Yeah, but I also enjoy it as well. Like now, whenever I watch it and I'm on my own, I still like having subtitles.
Subtitles on, right? But I'm also a person. I need constant stimulus and constant input. So I have my
yeah.
TV
So I read ahead of what's coming up.
Then I can glance down and read something on my phone and still catch up with the TV show as well. Which
no, I can't do that. I can't do that. I like reading it. I do this weird thing where I will look and I'll like start counting words and I'll try and get to 100 without it changing onto the next one. And then if it doesn't, I'll start again.
Well, you counting letters here.
No, I'm counting words. So you know how on subtitles it has like a number of words, and then if I start on like a random line at the beginning of one that appears on screen, so I'll keep going. Then at the very end, when it gets to near 100, I'm hoping that the last word that I've counted is 100. If it isn't, I'll start again.
This is weird. So I'm really not getting the concept of this here. Okay.
The concept is
no. Hear me out. What dialogue is 100 words long? It comes up in one subtitle.
It doesn't come up in one subtitle. I carry it on. So say if I see something that says, "My name is Will Smith. I am the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air." Right. My name is Will Smith. I am the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Yeah. So that's 13, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. Okay. Next one. What's the next thing you said? I was born and raised in Philadelphia. I was born and raised in Philadelphia.
He didn't say anything.
No, look, I'm riffing. Okay, right?
I thought you did the rap. I'm thinking this is so wrong.
I'm just riffing here. I'm riffing off the top of my head.
Okay, fine. Okay,
so that's 20, and then I will keep going, and then I'll hope that by the time it gets to the end of a line that's near 100, it will be the 100th word. If it doesn't, then I'm like, I'll start again.
You're just sad.
It's you know what? I've done it ever since I was a kid. I've never told you this, have I? I've done this ever since I was a kid, and I can't get rid of it. It's weird. I can't get rid of it.
So you're hoping that his dialogue or his whole scene ends on 100 words?
Yeah, and sometimes I get bored and clock out and I'm like, yeah, cool. But then sometimes I'm like, nah, let's keep this going. And then when it gets to 100, I feel a little warm inside. I'm like, yeah, great. Right?
Do you know what haiku is?
No.
Okay, so haiku, tanga, narenga, a type of Japanese poetry, you count the syllables.
Yeah.
So you got to have like a 5-syllable line, then a 7-syllable line, then a 5-syllable line. And it's a poem with a haiku. And you got to count syllables to make it all fit in that sort of period.
Isn't that like a limerick?
No, a limerick is when the opposite rhyme patterns happen. So there was a man from Kentucky to Hyderabad to say fuck it.
Oh, right, okay.
That's a limerick, right? A haiku, you count syllables. And the way to count syllables, every time your chin drops, that's a syllable. When you say a word. Oh, and the way it works in a haiku, you write one. The first line is 5 syllables. The second line is 7 syllables. The last line is 5 syllables. So your entire poem is going to be contained in that space. Mm. This sounds very similar to what you're trying to do, but we're counting words, not syllables, and trying to contain everything in there. But you're the only one doing it, and no one else is. So your success rate is very high.
It's just me. Yeah. It's just me.
Weird.
I don't even know why I do it. Honestly, I wish.
I don't think anyone does. That just sounds super weird, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you. This sounds a bit sounds kind of fucked up. Like a serial killer would do that sort of shit.
Maybe.
Okay, this will be your podcast thing. You know your little clip you do. That's fucked up, Indy. You know, but you always put like a little clip on the podcast.
Oh yeah. The little clip.
That's fucked up. That's what a serial killer does.
That's fucked up.
Yeah,
that little
maybe. Yeah, I was gonna sit here and laugh. Maybe.
Yeah, reference. Now you got to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
The clip is 10 minutes long, right?
And hey, Indy, we talk about counting words in a random... What the fuck is this shit about?
There you go.
Yeah, no, you're super weird for that, but okay.
Right, I'm happy to wrap it up there because I'm hungry, so I haven't eaten.
Oh, right, okay.
Thank you for joining me this week. We'll do this again.
Cool.
You will be a guest in the future.
I want to do this whole Verzuz thing as well.
Yeah, so go on to tell people.
All right. You should all know what a Verzuz battle is. It's what the idea was of something called a sound clash originally. So a sound clash, you've got one DJ, you've got another DJ, you play a tune, he plays a tune, best song wins, right? During lockdown, we had battles called Verzuz battles. The first one, I believe, was Timbaland against Swiss Beats. Timbaland came on, Swiss Beats came on a Zoom call, he played a song, and you score it. You know, they were just having friendly banter, but every fan's really scoring it. It goes on and goes on and goes on. Recently, we had an argument where people are like, oh, so who'd win between Jay-Z and DMX, for example? Jay-Z's not going to get into this sort of shit at all because he's just above and beyond that. But Hotline 7 did one of these, and I think Jay-Z just about won it. But it was cool to hear because the arguments of, what song's better? Is it better to hear Rough Riders Anthem, or is it better to hear, what's Jay-Z song going to be? Rough Riders Anthem?
Do it off your shoulder?
No, Takeover. That
Okay.
what's a bigger track for whatever reason. So I've got something to do with yourself with Kanye against Drake, because Drake has done the hottest hit streak ever in music. I don't care what anyone says, he is, but I don't think he can contest the catalogue of Kanye West. You think he can? So I want to go song for song, 10 songs, 20 songs, whatever, with you. And I even it's like into it. I get people. I even go into it and make notes on the songs. Jesus and even what Indy might play, what I might play.
If anyone ever asks me why Bal is competitive, this is what he
never asked what Indy might play computer games because I beat the piss out of him as a kid growing up.
Yeah.
Thinking I'd forge this amazingly great game player, but instead I forged a guy who says, can't be asked.
Exactly.
Not playing.
Too much trauma.
Instead.
Too much trauma. Man. I'd sit there and be like, if I go to Bal's tonight, I've got to play games.
Yeah.
But then if I stay here, I don't have access to the TV. Oh, let me just jump on MSN.
Right.
That's what I'd rather do.
It got bad the other week. It's funny you mentioned this. The other guy I play online Xbox all the time. And a mate of mine was a bit drunk saying, I play Tekken. I was like, whoa, pad down. You play Tekken? He goes, yeah, I'm really good. I go, you play Tekken? He goes, yeah. I go, I play Tekken, right? I haven't played for years, but I love Tekken, right? And he goes, oh, no, you play Tekken, I play Tekken. A guy's called Muddy. Muddy, I'll beat you. He goes, no, but I'm pretty fucking good. I'm pretty shit hot. I go, fine, it's on, let's go. Let's play right now. He goes, mate, it's like 10:30 at night. I go, yeah, fuck it, let's go right now, come. He goes, no, we'll do it in the week. For a whole week, he ditches me, doesn't play me at all. Nothing, no games, nothing. Saturday, I get a text, fancy a game. Tekken, yeah. Jump on at 8 o'clock. I'm ready at 7 o'clock. I load the game up. I've been playing a bit in the week anyway, getting the muscle memory back. It's how good you get again, you get muscle memory for the buttons.
Yeah.
And I was playing for an hour non-stop against people online, just battering them, getting the combos in, getting this in, getting that in. This bugger turns up at 10 o'clock and finally plays me. We play for about an hour and a bit. The current head-to-head score is 48-0.
48-0? I was just going to be like, 48-40, right? No.
He comes back for more every time. And he gets to the point where he goes, let's just play random characters. Like, I have been playing random characters anyway, in case you have said that. Just in case. And learn a few combos here, a few combos there, and Tekken smooth, and all those other things. And he's just there, he's going absolutely apoplectic. And he goes, oh, fuck this. You ever play Pro Evo?
Oh, it's even worse, man.
Yeah, well, no, I'm better at Tekken than Pro Evo. So I'm playing it with that now as well. The current one, that's about 6-0. Maybe 6-1. But yeah.
Jesus, man. This is why I don't like computer games, guys. There you go.
Shit, little brother.
Thanks. Cheers for joining me on the podcast. I'll catch you soon. Thanks for listening, guys. Give us a shout if you like this episode. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and send it to people if you think it was relevant. I know Bal will.
And if you don't like it, blame Indy. I'm awesome. He's not.
Yeah, cool. I'll take the flak on this one. That's fine. All right, later, awesome. Guys. Bye-bye.
Cool. Peace.